The Oklahoma Sooners got their guy. Bo Bentley commits to OU.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase over at Game Time. He's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. And again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Oklahoma Sooners landed Bo Bentley after a long 6-month recruitment. The Sooners beat out the LSU Tigers, who had a lot to offer, but Ben Arbuckle identified his guy and got his guy.
So less than 24 hours after getting a decommitment of a quarterback in this class, Oklahoma ended up with the guy that it appears that they actually wanted in Bowe Bentley. So that's no shade to Jaden O'Neal. We love everything about him, and we wish him the best of luck. But it looks like Ben Arbuckle got the guy he wanted. So you get Bowe Bentley, roughly 6'2", 200-pound quarterback out of Salina, Texas, for a football. He is a 4-star across all of the recruiting sites, and some have him in the top 100 in the country, considered like number 6, the top 10 quarterback in the country just in general. And so Oklahoma landed a dude. I saw some reports out of the Elite 11 from The Athletic, and Bruce Feldman tweeted it out. And one of the things they said about Bo Bentley is, dude's a competitor. They're impressed by his ability, impressed by his competitiveness. And yeah, he's a dude. So Oklahoma just landed one of the players that they believe was going to be a top player and do some damage at high levels of college football. So John, I'm excited for the Oklahoma Sooners. We got the guy, we got a quarterback. And the best part is we got him right before ChampU Barbecue weekend.
Yeah, this is an important aspect of that because he mentioned how important it is to be a part of the peer recruiting process. And there was no fuss to this. There was no commitment date set. There was no big announcement, no big gathering at his high school, no big event.
Nothing. Didn't
stream it live anywhere. It was just Hayes Fawcett dropped a graphic and it's done. So it's kind of refreshing sometimes to go through some of that. I get why these guys go and have the big event and put it on at their school and make it a big deal, because it is a big deal. Absolutely, it's a big deal. Yeah. But you look at your quarterback, who's going to be the leader of your 2026 recruiting class, who is going to be the future leader of your football team, and he's just all business. Like, it's not about the flash. It's not about having the moment. He wants to go create more moments. And he's got the ability to go do that. And the dual threat aspect of Bo Bentley is what makes him so intriguing. He totaled 63 total touchdowns last year. I don't care what level of football you're playing at. 63 total touchdowns of football.
And it said four. It said 4A Texas football. It's not even at a lower rank of Texas football.
You're not talking Louisiana 3A football. You're not.
Right. You're talking 4A Texas football. And Salina is considered a blue blood out there in Texas high school football. And he led them 16-0 to a state championship, the first one since 2007. The other thing to go with those 63 touchdowns, he had 4,200 in all-purpose yards. Reminds you a lot of a John Mateer, in which that's who he is compared to right now. Former Packers quarterback Craig Nowell is over at Elite 11, and he said, I was high on his tape coming in. I can tell the competitive temperament that he has. I think the sky's the limit for this kid. He expects him to put up some big numbers in major college football. John, this is what we've been looking for. We've been hoping to get another player of this caliber, one that's going to go out there and actually show and put up those type of numbers. But the ones that he did in high school, man, he has a good shot of being able to do it here at the next level, because he's going to a coach who's had a quarterback just like him right now and be able to produce all those numbers again.
Yeah, that's the comp that everybody seems to be falling into, is the John Mateer comp, and you can see it. You can see some of the things that John Mateer does on Bo Bentley's tape. It's very reproducible. Again, very athletic player. He plays lacrosse. He plays soccer in high school, and you've got to be an athlete to play either of those sports. So he's not just a guy that can run, but he's a guy that runs, and he runs really,
Yes.
really well. And he's got good change of direction. He's going to be able to make guys miss in the open field. And if you look at some of his highlights, you'll see him very willing to run through some people at times too. So very much a guy that's willing to take on contact, to gain the extra yards, to get into the end zone, to get that first down. And that's the kind of stuff, when you see that out of your quarterback, it's the stuff that energizes your entire team. Kind of like a Michael Hawkins. Like when Michael Hawkins is flipping into the end zone, just laying it all out on the line, like that's the stuff that energizes a football team. And so that's what Oklahoma's getting in a guy like Bo Bentley, a dude that is going to put it all out there. He's going to compete for everything, for every snap that he gets, for every rep in practice. He's going to go out there and he's going to compete. He's got the arm to be able to make big plays through the air in addition to what he does on the ground. So again, a big win. It's huge for Oklahoma in that this kid had offers from Ohio State that just came off a national title, had offers from LSU, who has 2 Heisman Trophy winners since 2019, has a Heisman Trophy front runner in Garrett Nussmeier, had an offer from Georgia, who's coming off of an SEC title, has 2 national championships in the last few years. Big time programs were coming after this guy, and Oklahoma's coming off of a 6-7 season and still has the recruiting cachet to be able to pull off a big recruiting win like this. And this is why you bring in a guy like Ben Arbuckle.
Yes.
Has the chops as an offensive play caller and has the proven production from quarterbacks to be able to say, listen, I get what Oklahoma was last year, but here's my resume. Here's what I can do with you. And here's what we can do together at Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's got the blueprint to show him, how to get to the point that he wants to get to. He wants to get to what John Mateer did last year at Washington State. And hopefully John Mateer gets back to that this coming season, which the expectations are there. The expectations are high. The ceiling is high. We expect him to be able to go out there and produce all of that because he's shown us he has the capabilities. Now he needs to be able to do it at a smarter level, because he'll be going to get some really, really, really intelligent defensive coordinators who's going to really throw the kitchen sink at him. But the good thing is, Oklahoma's going to be prepared for it. John Mateer be prepared for it. And now Bo Bentley will be able to do the same thing that we're going to see John Mateer do this year. So cross your fingers and toes. John Mateer shows up, shows out, give us the numbers that we expect. But John, I'm pretty excited. Now that ChampU Barbecue weekend is going forward, this is going to be huge for Oklahoma, having Bo Bentley in the boat, because now he can go out there and do all the peer recruiting that we would expect out of him.
Yep. And there's several targets that are going to be in town that are definitely going to want to meet with and hear from Bo Bentley now that he is committed to Oklahoma and is going to be in Norman to help Ben Arbuckle, help this offensive staff continue to recruit some of these big time targets. Maybe some surprises that showed up. We got a few predictions that came through from Sooner Scoop's Josh McQuistion. We'll talk through some of the ChampU Barbecue surprises coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
There's nothing like the NBA playoffs, the intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds like your boy here. It's kind of environment you must experience live, and I got to experience that. NBA Finals, I was luckily working in Indianapolis and said, you know what? I'm going to hop on the Game Time app and see if I can find it. And guess what? I did that. Game Time hooked your boy up. I got myself a great ticket for the NBA Finals. Got to see it live and experience it, because why? You got to when you've got the opportunity. So the best part about it was I was able to go in the Game Time app. I was able to see all of the actual seats. I could see my actual view, and they gave me the Game Time guarantee. So if they know I got the best deal, and so if I find a deal that's better, same row, same section, they're going to give me a credit of 110% of the difference. So you can take the guesswork out of it, buying tickets with Game Time. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDSEONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, Jay, let's first talk through some of the predictions that we saw. Josh McCuistion of Sooner Scoop. Obviously, the Bo Bentley predictions started to roll out on Friday. You got the Fong Bomb came through, as well as Josh McCuistion's from Sooner Scoop. But he also predicted that Oklahoma was going to land Tajh Overton, land Dallas Dickerson, and land interior offensive lineman Devon Robeson.
Yeah, if Oklahoma can pull those guys, like Dallas Dickerson, his commitment is coming up, I think, early next week. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that. He has Georgia Tech as well as Kentucky that are also fighting for his services. Good wide receiver, track kid, nice and tall wide receiver that, me and you, John, we talked about on the last show that we would be excited about. But adding in more Tajh Overton predictions makes me feel like Tajh is probably going to commit here over the weekend while he's here for a visit. You have him on defensive line with Devon Robinson. Oh, he's also in town for ChampU Barbecue weekend. I'm seeing the social media posts. Go check those out. Get yourself excited about that because, yeah, it sounds like the Bowe Bentley commitment is going to lead to a few more players actually jumping on board.
Yeah, so it's exciting, man. The buzz around Oklahoma for much of this offseason has been about the hot seat for Brent Venables coming off of the 6-7 season. But what we're seeing is there's still going to be a force on the recruiting trail. And Oklahoma's jumped into the top 20 in recruiting with this Bo Bentley commitment. And they're going to continue to rise because they're still got a lot of blue chippers on their board that they're awaiting projections and commitments from. The guys in town this weekend. There's a lot of big time talents in town. Jake Krell, the IMG Academy defensive end, somebody that has been on Oklahoma's radar for quite some time and is a big time priority for the Sooners. That's a guy that moves the needle as well along the defensive line. Similar to what Bo Bentley does on offense, Jake Krell is one of those guys that moves the needle for defensive line prospects.
Yeah, there's some good. Overton's going to be huge for Oklahoma to bring him in. And then with some of the other prospects, like you mentioned, Jake, I know Oklahoma really wants him. Then you got DeAndre Lafayette, who's he's a good project out of Orlando, Florida, adding him with, who is it? Daniel Norman is another edge that we saw that's going to be in town. I actually saw a big group of wide receivers that are actually visiting, from Jordan Clay to Daniel Odom, the current committed wide receiver. See if we can keep that one intact. Zachary Turner out of Duncanville, Texas. And then a surprise one for me, because I thought that he was going to probably end up sparing this visit and go somewhere else, was Craig Dandridge. He actually posted on his Instagram this evening that he is in Norman, touchdown. So he's got all the pictures on the bed and everything. I'm like, okay, Oklahoma may have a chance. So that's 4 wide receivers that I'm actually excited about. And then you've got other options that like a Dallas Dickerson is one that Oklahoma definitely wants to get their hands on, and probably one more that's not in this weekend because he's doing a visit elsewhere, but it sounds like Oklahoma's got some traction on.
And they're going to continue to have that traction because, again, they landed a big-time quarterback commitment from Bo Bentley. Again, you look back at some of the rankings from where he was last fall, he was back in like the 280s in the 247 Sports rankings. And by wintertime, by end of January, he was up inside the top 100. That's how much he moved the needle through his junior season, which was his first season as a starter, and through the playoff run. That's how much he moved the needle amongst recruiting rankers, and that's how much he moves the needle among recruits as well. Anybody else that you're looking at in this ChampU Barbecue grouping that you feel like Oklahoma has a really good chance at landing, or you feel like maybe they need to push a little bit more to generate some momentum for?
I'd say, well, one, I want to point out Brian Harris, the current OU committed defensive tackle. If you've noticed, he's been doing a ton of tweeting over the last few days. He's been definitely calling out players saying, hey, come on and jump on my back, boys. Come and join me here at Oklahoma. So he's one that I'm, of course, excited is going to be here. But Nico and Bo Bentley are going to be in town as well from Arizona. And so we're still working on Bo. We got Nico. I think that we should be able to push a little bit enough to get him done. But one more that I'm really checking out is Braden Presley from Bixby, Oklahoma, one of the Presley boys, in which one's at Tulsa now, used to be at Oklahoma State, and the other one finished up at Oklahoma State. We all know that all of them are athletic, fast, quick-feeted, very agile. Well, Braden is the taller one. He's over 6 feet tall. And so you get the bigger version of all the other Presley fast boys. That would be a huge pickup for Oklahoma to snatch him away from Oklahoma State, because I think that he has the opportunity of being something a little bit more special than the others.
Yeah, I'm excited about getting Bo Bentley in town. Another athletic, fast linebacker, somebody who's going to be physical at the point of attack. That's the prototype that Jim Nagy is looking for and his staff is looking for Brent Venables' defense. Fast, physical, athletic linebackers, and he fits the bill. And so if you can come out of this weekend, you've already got Nico Jandro committed. Bo has been recruited by a lot of top programs, Texas included. If you can come out of this weekend and land Bo Jandro, I know you're going to look at the 3-star ranking and not get too excited about it. But again, if Texas is coming after him, you got to know that he's a good player. So don't sleep on him just because of the star rating. Jim Nagy loves him. Texas likes him. This is a staff that likes him a lot. If they can land him, that's a big win for their linebacker recruitments. They've got some other guys that they're trying to get as well. There's the Arkansas kid, blanket. You got Ja'Cory Smith and
Ja'Cory Smith, yeah, and then, Matthew Nelson.
That's the edge. The kid out of Rogers, I'm blanking on his name. Braylon, what is his name? Sorry.
Oh, Braxton Lindsey.
Thank you, Braxton Lindsey. Another fast, physical linebacker that would move the needle for Oklahoma's defense.
Oh, yeah.
So you get Bo, you get Braxton Lindsey, and you add them with Ja'Cory Smith, and I really like what Oklahoma's done recruiting linebacker in this cycle.
Yeah, and I think Braxton Lindsey's doing some visits this weekend or whatnot, and I'm anticipating a commitment probably end of the month. So sometime next week. Next week is going to be busy for the Sooners. You got Deacon Schmidt's commitment. You got Dallas Dickerson. You're probably going to have about 2 or 3 guys looking to do their commitments over the next few days. I'm expecting it to be spread out all the way until next Saturday. So probably 7 days worth. If the over-under is set at 4.5 commitments for the next 7 days, I'm totally taking the over, and I'm hammering it with double the money.
Yeah, I forgot to tell these guys that I'm going to be going on vacation, and now's not necessarily the best time. Wait until like the second week of July, and it would be good timing for me. But at least we got the Bowe Bentley commitment done before I go on vacation next Thursday. So
the most important one. That's the most critical one. We got the big fish out.
Yeah. So it sets the stage, for Oklahoma to finish out the recruiting cycle well. Will they end up with a top 10 class? I don't think so. I don't think that's where they're going to land because, again, Jim Nagy's staff, they're not looking at star ratings. They're not concerned with it. They're going to trust their evals and what makes sense for Oklahoma and Oklahoma's defense and Oklahoma's offense. And they're going to look to do more with quote unquote less. Again, if you're looking at star ratings, that's what you're going to think of. But this is a team that's not going to be at all concerned about it. They've got archetypes that they're looking for, and they are going to trust the developmental process of this program as they go.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this weekend and where we're going. Sooners, we're in a very good place. It's refreshing to get a quarterback, and now we can really focus on closing out on some recruits and actually having some really good recruits pull up for the weekend. So a lot of top 100 guys based upon ratings, but like you said, John, they look at NFL not only measurables but traits that tells them that these players would have a chance. And a lot of those traits also include how hard you work and how much you train. I think Oklahoma's pushing for a lot of that.
And to just finish it up on one last Bo Bentley note, so your quarterback situation is looking really, really nice for the next few years. John Mateer, you've got at least 1 year, maybe 2. You've got Michael Hawkins Jr. You've got Bowe Bentley. You've got Whit Newbauer, who was just coming off his true freshman season and is, again, a dual threat quarterback. You got Jet New, a pocket passer with great accuracy. So there's a lot to like about where Oklahoma's quarterback room is at right now. And that doesn't even include their pursuit of a guy like Peyton Houston out of Louisiana. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. That's the line. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner.
Oh, you trying to find my video, and yeah, here we are. Bye. Too excited. Just too excited about